All right, should the Broncos try to get Kyle Van Noy? Y for yes, or I want you to type N for no. One of the top teams that I thought made some sense for Van Noy, Denver Broncos, but also a team that's, well, kind of seems like they could be interested in going out and getting the former Miami Dolphin. Could be something to think about here. So there's a report that the Broncos could go out and sign Van Noy. Not trade, but go out and sign him. The Broncos 2021 cap space, $42.4 million. Right now it's the fifth most in the National Football League. And it could be a pretty interesting thing considering the fact that with all the drama going on right now with Von Miller, it could be a potential replacement. Is he the exact same player as Von Miller? No, he's not. However, he does fill a void there, and he's going to be a lot cheaper than Miller, who I believe is somewhere around $22 million this upcoming year. Also for the Broncos, I get that they're building around Drew Lock, who is a good quarterback, right? And they have a good young offense. But when I really think how this team is going to win football games, it's going to be on defense. You already let go of Jarrell Casey. You already let go of A.J. Boye. Sure, they're older veterans and their contracts weren't favorable, but you need somebody that can cover. You need somebody that can go after and get the quarterback. Van Noy can do so many different things, so maybe he could try to fill all these different holes here in Denver. So when you look at the Broncos 2021 linebacker depth chart, obviously Von Miller, okay? Club option, so that's still something to keep in mind as well. And then you got Chubb. All these other players here they're solid, but Van Noy is an upgrade over, I'll say, just about almost anybody on this list. And if you can continue to build solid depth in a division that's got people like Patrick Mahomes, Derek Carr, Justin Herbert, if you can't find somebody that can get after the quarterback at a productive rate, I'm telling you what, man, it's going to be a long, long season. There is absolutely no doubt about that. So I found some interesting quotes here that I wanted to be able to bring up. Kyle Van Noy on being released. I am surprised and disappointed in their decision. As a captain, I gave my all to the team. I fought through a painful hip injury during the season, including spending a night in the hospital after a game. I was brought there to be a leader, and I know my teammates looked up and respected me. I am looking forward to making an impact on my next team on and off the field. So that's what Kyle Van Noy had to say, which I did think was pretty interesting overall. And, you know, when you see a player of his magnitude get moved on from, it's definitely something that we're going to sit here and talk about. So this is what Van Noy did in 2020 in 14 games. 69 tackles. If you guys want to spam nice, always appreciative. 10 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, but only 29 years old. I mean, 10 QB hits as well, and defended 6 passes. When you have a player that is this versatile, it's always interesting. And I'm also going to go back to his time when he played with Brian Flores. The fit, it seemed like it made a lot of sense, and this is what he's done in 95 games. 358 tackles, 34 tackles for loss, 23.5 sacks, 7 forced fumbles, and 6 fumble recoveries. So not only has he done a solid job in 2020, he's been a pretty productive player throughout his entire career. And honestly, I think there's going to be a bunch of teams that are going to be interested in going out and getting this guy. If you're looking for an awesome deal, look no further. NFL shirts under $18.74. If you got a favorite team, which I imagine y'all do, go to chatsports.com/NFL shirts because they just released these new shirts, and they like to call them their X-ray shirts. I think they're super dope. They come in sizes from small all the way up to 4XL, and in fact, Bronco shirts are even cheaper than $18.74. And if you're a Buccaneers fan, I've even seen $14.99. I mean, if you need an NFL shirt, usually they're $25, I believe, but they are on sale right now. They come in all different colors, all different sizes as well. Chatsports.com/NFL shirts. If you want to spam in the chat who your favorite NFL team is, please go do it. I definitely would appreciate that. One more time, chatsports.com/NFL shirts, where you can get these X-ray shirts under $18.74. But hurry, because I do know for some NFL teams they are going quick, so don't be the fan that misses out on this awesome deal. Broncos news and rumors here. We're going to talk about Alex Smith potentially going and signing with the Denver Broncos. So the Washington football team, they're likely going to part ways with their veteran quarterback, Alex Smith. And even though it was an incredible year, an incredible story, I do think that it's time to move on from Alex ultimately. And now the Broncos, they've been listed as a potential destination for Smith, which I do think makes a lot of sense. Because if you're somebody like Drew Lock, this might be, I don't know, for you Drew Lock lovers out there, I think he's actually somebody that needs to start playing a little bit more like Alex Smith and playing less like a guy like Patrick Mahomes. Drew Lock thinks that he's got a Brett Favre type of arm, but he needs to learn how to control the game a little bit more, how to be a game manager. That's okay. And one of the best guys to do that in his career and learn how to do it was Alex Smith. So if you could bring in Smith to teach Lock, that's great. Also, sometimes competition motivates people a little bit here. So this is what both of these quarterbacks did in 2020. Drew Lock in 13 games, Alex Smith in 8 games. Completion percentage, advantage, Alex Smith. Yards, advantage, well, Alex Smith. And then you got touchdowns, interceptions. Some of these numbers apparently are not totally correct. It's all good. Shout out to Sam. But at the end of the day, Alex Smith to Denver is ultimately what we're really trying to break down here and what we're really trying to talk about, because if you could go out and make this connection, make this move, that's why we're trying to really figure out where Smith could potentially go. So 6 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. You're like, man, those numbers aren't very good. He really only had Terry McLaurin, and it was only in 8 games. If you give Alex Smith, Cortland Sutton, Noah Fant, Deshaun Hamilton, Jerry Jeudy, this is a totally different receiving core, which Denver definitely does. So give me your thoughts here on this one. Should Denver go out and sign Smith? I want you to type S for sign, or if you totally disagree with me, it's all good. That's what these shows are about here. I want you to scroll on down and type P for pass. So the Broncos, I'm saying flat out, they should target Alex Smith. Smith, he would be a phenomenal mentor to Lock. And if Drew Lock struggles, you could potentially go to Alex, who has playoff experience, and I really do believe can lead a football team on and off the field. Found these 2 interesting stats here. Washington, 22.7 points per game, and games that Smith started last year. Only 17.9 points per game when he didn't. And this stat was really crazy to me. The past 3 seasons, the Washington football team, 11-5 when Smith starts. 6-27 when somebody not named Alex Smith starts. Those are mind-blowing numbers to me. So he can win football games, he can manage, but he also can help mentor and push Drew Lock. But when you look at his numbers throughout his entire career, he's played in a lot of games. And for Denver, I know John Elway wants a veteran quarterback. I know he wants somebody that can be a player-type coach. And when you've played in 174 career games, that's 100% what you're ultimately going to get in Alex Smith, which is why he's being listed here as a potential target for Denver, which is why I also think that it does make a lot of sense for the Broncos to go out and bring in him, a veteran stopgap quarterback. Now, obviously, it's always going to come down to money, what he's going to get paid. I don't pay him over $10 million. Personally, probably wouldn't pay him $7 or $8 million. But if you can go out and find a reasonable contract, and if he does want to play, I get the idea with his leg and everything going on there. But if he does want to continue to play, and if you could potentially find a good contract for him, that is something that I ultimately think the Denver Broncos need to potentially do. So bring back him, 36 years old. So go down one more time here, type S for sign or type P for pass. Should the Denver Broncos bring in Alex Smith? If you think that he should be the starter over Drew Lock, you can also let us know. That's why we do these shows here ultimately. One more time, Denver, sign Alex Smith, S for sign, or I want you to type P for pass.